Who were you going to call out? What was the plan originally?
I think he was here. He came in my locker room.
Shakur Stevenson?
He wasn't in my locker room.
Jake Paul? But me and Gervonta were scheduled to fight for sure.
How real or what was to it with you and Tank actually being the thing? Was that something that was talked about?
Yeah, no, it was highly talked about and in negotiations and almost ready to make happen, but he has to do his rematch with Lamont and get that W, and then we'll be able to run it back. But me and Gervonta were scheduled to fight for sure.
Jake Paul caused a major disruption at the Davis vs. Roach 2 press conference when he suddenly stormed the stage and shoved Gervonta Davis. The moment was quick but chaotic, loud enough to bring everything to a halt. Cameras swung around, security rushed in, and the crowd erupted in shouts. Just as Davis was about to speak, Jake Paul blindsided him with the push. It wasn't staged, and it definitely wasn't expected, but it happened. And now it's all anyone can talk about. After the incident, Jake had little to say.
Tank probably could get hurt. You know, this dude's 200 pounds at the end of the day, and it's not like he's a bum. No, he's not on Tank level, but a good big guy beats a great little guy. That's the phrase. This is a bad look. It's just, again, it's going to be hard for Tank to walk away from the big business that is this fight. It's a huge payday. I guess Tank fans definitely need to be worried. I know you guys think he's Superman. Jake Paul being 195 and then rehydrating. Tank fighting at 135.
He didn't throw a punch or start a fight, just made sure Gervonta Davis felt the push, then stood still, soaking in the attention as it shifted his way. Later, Jake insisted it wasn't personal. He was confident Davis didn't see it that way either. To him, it was all about keeping the energy up and reminding everyone that their rivalry is far from over.
We know that Gervonta is going to fight Jake Paul in November, and then we'll see what happens if there's an AJ fight. Be interested to go from Gervonta Davis to Anthony Joshua, but I don't think the Chavez fight is terrible. I think it's a smart bit of...
For months, Jake Paul has been pushing to secure a fight with Gervonta Davis. Following his high-profile win over Mike Tyson, more fighters have started taking him seriously, not just for his improving boxing skills, but for the massive attention and revenue his bouts generate. Jake knows how to draw a crowd, and that's why even elite fighters who once ignored him are now willing to talk. Currently, he's also scheduled to face Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. at the Honda Center in Anaheim, California on June 28, 2025.
Oh my gosh, what news to wake up to in the morning. Jake Paul versus Julio Cesar Chavez. Zurdo Ramirez versus Torticos live on the Zone pay-per-view. MVP Promotions, Golden Boy Promotions coming together. Let's go!
After his upcoming fight, Jake's main goal is to get Gervonta Davis in the ring, but negotiations haven't gone smoothly so far. He was also close to securing a bout with Canelo Alvarez. The two had reportedly reached an agreement, but the deal fell through when Canelo signed a 4-fight contract with His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh.
After Canelo didn't materialize, was the next one Tank?
Yeah, I mean, that was on the 1 yard line as well, but he has to rematch Lamont Roach. He wants to get that back. Then we'll be back in discussions with Mr. Gervonta. This is the nature of boxing. You have massive fights on the 1 yard line and things just fall through.
If you do fight, what weight would it be at?
195. It would be an exhibition. No restrictions, just the fact that we couldn't actually get it professionally sanctioned.
So Jake turned his attention back to Davis. The plan was to schedule an exhibition match in November. Not a sanctioned professional bout, but still a major draw. However, things got complicated after Davis's underwhelming performance against Lamont Roach Jr. As a result, Tank was obligated to take a rematch, now officially set for August 16th in Las Vegas.
Now, he's trying to please the fans possibly and take this fight versus Lamont Roach in a rematch. You know, is it even worth it to please the fans who are going to love you 1 minute, hate you the next? They're going to love him this minute, they're going to hate him next minute. Oh, I don't like it. He can fight Lamont Roach, and they're going to say, well, he's supposed to knock Lamont out if he does win, you know, or if he loses to Lamont, they're going to say, oh, we knew Lamont was better. It's just always is a never-ending story in regards to boxing. You can't just please the people.
Jake paid close attention to the first Davis versus Roach fight, which ended in a majority draw, a result many questioned. Critics argued that Davis should have lost, especially after taking a knee in the 9th round. Jake wasn't surprised. In an interview with Ariel Helwani, he shared his blunt assessment. "I never thought Tank was that good, to be honest. It would just take the right boxer to tear him apart," he said. Jake went on to add that it would need to be someone active, aggressive, and unafraid of Davis's power.
After Canelo, obviously, didn't materialize, was the next one Tank?
Yeah, I mean, that was on the 1 yard line as well, but he has to rematch, Lamont Roach. He wants to get that back, and then we'll be back in discussions with Mr. Gervonta. But man, this is the nature of boxing. You have massive fights on the 1 yard line and things just fall through.
As you're watching it, he was a gigantic favorite, and this is...
Jake believes Gervonta Davis has clear flaws in his boxing style. Weaknesses he says were exposed by Roach, which is why the fight turned into such a tough night for Davis. If a matchup between Jake and Davis ever happens, Jake says it would be a 10-round exhibition with 3-minute rounds. Since the bout couldn't get sanctioned as a professional fight, an exhibition became the only viable option, even though it doesn't follow the typical rules of a sanctioned match. Jake doesn't seem to mind. For him, the goal is to step into the ring with Davis and prove a point. But not everyone is on board. Some fighters see the idea as a joke. Among them is Shakur Stevenson, who has long been calling for a fight with Davis and is frustrated that Tank might prioritize a spectacle over a true test against an elite boxer.
We're in discussions with a lot of names: Gervonta Davis, Anthony Joshua, Badu Jack, Ryan Garcia, KSI, Tommy Fury. So there's a lot of people on the hit list, but Badu Jack excites me a lot, and I definitely want to become world champion. So going after Zerto or Badu sounds like a good game plan to me.
If you had your pick of the litter, in scale of 1, 2, and 3.
First is Gervonta, second is Anthony Joshua.
Tank disrespects the sport if he fights Jake Paul instead of me, Shakur Stevenson told Fight Hub TV. "I'm the best in boxing. If he doubts that, come prove it." For Stevenson, facing real contenders is what matters. A fight with a YouTuber feels like a joke. But Jake Paul disagrees. He says the fight with Davis was nearly done before the Roach rematch got in the way. On the MMA Hour, he shared more behind-the-scenes details.
Didn't say you got your eye on Tank. What do you think about the rumors that Tank and Jake fight?
Man, Tank disrespectful to the sport if he choose that over fighting with me. I'm the best fighter in the sport. I've been telling him that. He called cap on it. So if he won't call cap and say I'm not who I say I am, come prove it.
Jake acknowledged that Davis has to rematch Lamont Roach first. He wants Davis to reclaim his status, and then they'll resume talks. If Davis wins in August, Jake is ready to pick up where they left off. But the idea of the fight has sparked debate online. Many fans aren't thrilled. The main concern? Jake is much bigger, typically fighting between 195 and 200 pounds, while Davis usually competes at lightweight around 135 pounds. Even if Davis moves up, he'd still face a significantly heavier and taller opponent.
How about Jake? What do you think of Jake?
Clown.
Yeah.
He's a clown.
Would you look at it as a joke if someone, if your team was like, yo, we want you to fight Jake Paul? Would you be like, come on, man?
I laugh at him. Like, you want me to fight him?
You think it'll ever come to the point where you're going to mix into, I mean, you're obviously doing the real shit, but will it ever mix into the point where the money's big enough?
Yeah, would
for
you ever
to
do a
take...
fight like that?
I feel as though in my career I can't do that right now.
Yeah, I'm down. Let's run it. I'd be super down. But honestly, does Gervonta need Jake Paul? Let's be clear. Is there even a height limit? In boxing?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be down. Let's run it. Like, I'd be super down. I don't know if
Gervonta needs Jake Paul. Let's be clear, right?
Is there a height limit in boxing?
Hall of Famer Roy Jones Jr. recently shared a surprisingly supportive take on Jake Paul's chances of becoming a world champion during an interview with Prime Casino. While Roy stopped short of guaranteeing a title for Jake, he firmly believes Paul will earn a shot. He said, "The whole purpose behind the fight is creating the argument for Jake Paul to fight for a world title. That's what he really wants to do, and it's not a bad way to go about it. He's building that case, and if he keeps at it, he'll get a chance. Roy also noted that Jake's chances of winning will depend largely on the opponent, but he praised Paul's punching power, adding, "He has the power to win anything. He can knock anybody out."